We need new systems. So here's the thing. I am not exactly a tidy person by nature. If I'm being completely honest with you, my instinct at the end of the day is not to put my clothes away, it is to throw them on the floor. When I see a dirty dish in the sink that literally just needs to be put in the dishwasher, the thing that I most want to do is ignore it. I'm not suggesting this, I'm just saying that that is definitely how I'm wired. But I'm also somebody who is really negatively impacted by cluttered spaces. I am a much better version of myself when my environment feels clean and clear. My mood, my productivity, and my general quality of life is dramatically better when my space is taken care of. And even though it's not my first instinct, I do actually enjoy taking care of it. I've been really focusing on keeping a tidier home this year. And I honestly feel like I have come so far and made so much progress. But I feel like I'm kind of in this cycle where I will spend an entire day cleaning my house, get it looking really good, and enjoy it and maintain it for probably 24 to 48 hours. And then past that point, it slowly starts to get messy until I really have to like deep clean and start from scratch, which isn't the end of the world, but I would really like to build a system where we can just maintain having a clean home so that we're not constantly starting over. And that is my goal for this week. I have 2 strategies that I want to implement to accomplish this. The first of which is just figuring out some habits and routines that are things I feel like I can reasonably, realistically commit to. That even on days when I am not feeling my best, I know I can still show up and at least do some version of. And then the other thing is I want to make a few one-time changes to make the process of keeping our house clean and organized much easier. So this week, I'm gonna bring you with me as I'm creating functional household systems. My goal for today is essentially just to get prepped and set up for the next few days. I wanna do some of those one-off changes that I think are actually gonna make following through so much easier. What I'm noticing is that the little stuff tends to pile up most when there are any obstacles to dealing with it right away. So for example, our bathroom gets cleaned at least once a week, but it does get pretty dirty in between those cleanings as it is the only bathroom in our home. Especially if we have company over, it just gets a lot of use. However, I make all my own cleaners and currently I've been storing all of them except for one glass cleaner in the kitchen. When I walk into the bathroom to take a shower and I think, oh my gosh, this counter needs to be wiped down now or this mirror needs to get cleaned, I want to be able to just knock that task out right then, because even though walking to the kitchen to grab a cloth or to grab a cleaner is really not that much work, I think if procrastination is something that you struggle with at all, you know how much those little obstacles can make such a difference. So the first thing that I want to do is actually double my recipe on a couple of cleaners so that I can have all the products I need in the bathroom as well as in the kitchen. That way they're right there and handy when I need them. I'm also going to bring some cloths for cleaning, some rags into the bathroom so that I have them right there whenever I'm ready to go. For this cleaner, I'm making a DIY disinfectant. I will share the link to the recipe down below. It is not of my own creation, but I've been using this for the last few weeks, kind of around the house. I keep a bottle in our kitchen and I have really been liking it. Not only is it really effective, but I like just being able to put in my own essential oil to add some nice fragrance. Zach keeps telling me how good our house smells, which is music to my ears. I think I'm actually going to be doing a little bit of a bathroom makeover in the next few months. I want to add in some shelving and just kind of restructure the way that it is organized. Currently, everything fits in our drawers and under the sink, but it's just not a great system. So I am looking forward to actually setting up a bit more of a cleaning station. Right now, it's just the spray bottles and some cloths with everything else under the sink, but it totally does the trick. If you've been around my channel much before, you may have heard me talk about this bad boy. This is my home management binder, aka my entire organization system for cleaning, household management, and meal planning. And if you're this far into the video, you might be going, why are we talking about your current system when it is so clearly not working? Well, let me tell you. The problem is not actually that this is a bad system. In this binder, I have things like a daily cleaning checklist, a weekly cleaning checklist, and a monthly cleaning checklist. All all of which are extremely valuable and I used to use all the time. The problem I'm finding is that once we moved into our apartment, I put it in our junk drawer and I completely forgot that it existed. One of the changes I am making this week is simply taking my binder out of the junk drawer and I'm gonna start storing it on the counter right there. I know that that's a really small thing, but it's something I wanted to share because I know that I have a tendency sometimes to overcomplicate solutions to my problems. And this is one of those things where I really feel like it's not that deep, just needed to make that slight shift. I did update this not too long ago, but honestly, I am looking through it, actually realizing there's a few little changes I would like to make on my cleaning checklists. So I think I might do that tonight. I think we're planning on having a pretty chill evening, so I'm thinking maybe after dinner I'll put on like an episode of Gilmore Girls and just kind of rework my to-do lists a little bit. But for now, this bad boy is going on the counter. Day 2 ended up being a really full work day for me, so I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to really test the routines I've been putting into place. The first daily habit or system that I've implemented has been dedicating an hour in the morning to getting myself and the house ready. And hear me out because I know this probably sounds super basic and obvious, but I think it's actually my favorite rhythm in this whole video. I've shared before on my channel about the power of closing the kitchen every evening, having every dish washed and put away, every surface wiped, floors clean, and waking up to that space. I still believe that, and yet I have found myself in a season of life where it feels like our evenings are booked and busy, and the only way to make that happen is staying up really, really late, at least a few times a week, which throws off my whole sleep schedule. Our mornings, on the other hand, tend to have more flexibility. So every night, it's part of my routine to clean the kitchen. But if I don't have the time, we end up running out the door, or it's just simply not top priority, I have made total peace with leaving the dishes and the floors and whatever until the morning. And in the morning, rather than feeling behind for the day, I know that I have time set aside to take care of my space before anything else. Some days I wake up to a clean kitchen, some days I don't, but having it as part of my routine on both ends gives me so much space for life to just be life. I am really, really enjoying that. Aside from those morning and evening rituals, the only big consistent habit I've really implemented has been making a commitment to myself that when I notice something that needs to be cleaned, if it's going to take me 5 minutes or less, just doing it immediately. Again, none of this is earth-shattering, but I swear to you, I just implemented that this week, and already there are so many little things around the house that have been driving me nuts that are gone, and I feel so much better. Today is day 3 and we are gonna tackle drop zones, aka the areas of our house where things just seem to appear and pile up without us even knowing it. Something I have been really noticing over the last couple of months is, I think unfortunately, just with the layout of our home and the way that we designed it, the furniture we chose, we have so many of these. I have adopted a very minimalistic, simplistic decor style in this home. I really didn't want to add more on top of tables or desks or surfaces than they needed to, but something I've noticed that's a problem with that is I'm much more likely to dump my crap and my clutter somewhere if it doesn't look pretty to begin with. Today, my goal is to not only clear off these surfaces, but maybe style them just a little bit so that they feel complete on their own and I am not leaving my stuff there all day, every day. Drop zone number 1 is my desk. This is probably the worst of them. It's positioned in between the kitchen and the living room, and it's also a space that I can avoid using more than our coffee table or our kitchen table, so it's basically just turned into storage and I almost never sit here to work. But I would really like to change that. So I'm starting off with just giving everything a good wipe down when I tell you this was dusty, and then rearranging things in a way that looks cleaner and simpler. I decided to move my calendar from the side right to the middle because I'm not gonna wanna put anything on top of it because it's beautiful. It's only been a few days, but I will say this has actually held up so well. I haven't dumped anything else on this surface since I put it here, and that hasn't happened since we moved in. Drop zone number 2 is our kitchen table, and to be honest with you, I don't mind using this a little bit as a drop zone throughout the day, just if there are things we need to set down for a little while. I just want to make sure that it's actually getting cleared off every day as well. I ended up taking some candles off of a little side table, which I was not loving them on anyways. You'll actually see that in a minute. And I put them on this table. I'm not sure we've completely resolved the issue, but it definitely does look a little bit better. And keeping it clean has been more on my brain over the last few days for sure. Okay, so I totally wasn't thinking, and I had actually done kind of an initial clear off of this shelf a couple days ago. So in full transparency, it's actually usually even messier than this. This spot has just become anywhere we put mail we don't want to deal with, cards we want to display, and anything we might want to grab on our way out the door. In theory, I don't mind putting any of those things there. It's just not a big shelf, and so it always looks very overwhelming. This side table is not exactly a drop zone, but it's an area of our house that I hate looking at and I just haven't touched in a long time. So I decided to rework it, make it actually a functional space for us to use, and I repurposed the candles on our kitchen table. I've actually been looking for a spot to store our journals and just some notebooks that we use frequently around our home, so this ended up being the perfect location. Just added some pens, and then I put these cute little wooden beads here that my mother-in-law actually made for our wedding. Okay, all the drop zones are cleared, and I did a little bit of decor-y stuff, kind of. I just sort of organized our entryway shelf. I don't really know if I want to add anything else to that since it is not very big to begin with. Maybe I'll add like a framed photo or something. Today is day 4 and it's officially time for a little check-in. Also, I just got my hair done. It's a little bit darker than I was expecting, but I'm kind of obsessed with it. Just felt like I needed to acknowledge that because it's kind of a dramatic change. This week has been so interesting. I feel like now that I have been really paying attention to my habits and just making a few changes, it's been really helpful to see both what's working, also just notice how my thoughts kind of play into my actions. You might be able to hear in my voice that I do have a little bit of a cold this week, and yesterday I was just really not feeling well. I was exhausted. Over the last couple of days, I just haven't been feeling the best. This morning I had a moment of feeling a little bit defeated because I wasn't feeling too hot yesterday. You can probably hear in my voice I'm still kind of recovering from a cold. Day 3 was actually 2 days ago. I took yesterday off, and so today it felt like we had to do another big blitz clean, which, to be clear, was maybe like 20 minutes long for Zach and I to get the house from chaotic and cluttered to clean, clear, and organized. I had a bit of a reality check with myself where part of me felt so frustrated and disappointed that we hadn't maintained the systems, but I also know that that's the part of me that gets way too invested in structure and system to the point where it starts to take over my life. If I can't take a sick day, if I can't take an evening off or be present in my own life and just deal with having a messy house for like 24 hours, what am I doing? There is a part of me that wants every dish to always be clean, every floor to always be swept and washed, every bed to be made, every item of clothing to be put away. And while I want to continue developing habits in myself of consistency, I don't think that's an expectation that I ever want to have. It's just not realistic for life. And I don't want to be so focused on having my home look or feel perfect that I miss out on life itself. Was not expecting to go there in this video, but that's just what's in my head today. I've also been really loving having the binder on the counter. It's been really easy and helpful to just pop the bad boy open and be able to see things at a glance. Today, I wanted to go through some of the weekly rhythms that I have. So it's Saturday today, and there's a few things I do on the weekends, kind of a reset for the week ahead. So we're gonna get started. My first weekend rhythm is laundry, and I'm not gonna lie to you, this is probably one of my least favorite household things to do. There's just so many steps. I just want to knock it out in an hour and be done with it, but laundry must be done in installments. I'll typically try to start this on Saturday morning so that throughout the day I can at least get everything through the washer, through the dryer, and in an ideal world, I like to have it folded and put it away on day 1, but I know that I have an extra day that weekend to complete the job if I need it. We do also air dry quite a few of our clothes, so obviously those unfortunately can't be done on the same day. Weekend ritual number 2 is cleaning the bathroom, and now that we have the cleaners actually under the sink, it is getting cleaned more frequently during the week, but I still want to maintain the practice of at least once a week, going in and doing all the steps to make sure that every surface is getting cleaned at least once every 7 days. All right, laundry is well underway. That is definitely a 2-day weekend project. The bathroom is clean. Now I am moving on to the final weekend ritual, and this isn't actually cleaning related, but it is kind of a household rhythm that we have. So I wanted to share it, and that is making bread. I've been making bread for coming up on 2 years now, but because I do a lot of sourdough, it's definitely a little bit of a lengthy process. So I like to start it on the weekends. I find if I start it on Saturday, and by start it I mean feeding my starter today, then I can have it ready to bake first thing Monday morning, and then we're just starting the week with a loaf of fresh bread. Doesn't get better than that. Thank you guys so much for coming with me on this week of creating functional household rituals. I definitely think this will be a process of kind of figuring out what works for us and just adjusting as our life changes too. I feel like this week was super helpful though. I'm really excited about the routines I'm establishing. I feel a lot more at peace with the rhythm that we're in, so I'm really excited about that. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If there was anything that you found helpful, or if you have any tips for me, definitely make sure to leave them in the comment section below. I so appreciate each and every one of you being here, and I hope you have a good day, because today is a good day to have a good day. That's it. Bye.